Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Wednesday, August 16th, 2023. A week ago today, Maui took over the headlines for the unprecedented fire, what some media sources said was the worst fire in American history. And again, the headlines have just been so bizarre ever since this news broke. And, this was yesterday. It's in today's news, but the statement was made yesterday. Of the 106 remains found, only 5 were identifiable. And they had people on saying that it looks like the victims look like they got hit by Pompeii. And of course, Pompeii was the volcano that exploded in August in history, but instantly, or Vesuvius was the mountain that exploded, and Pompeii was the town right by Vesuvius that got the brunt of the disaster, and the people were turned instantly into essentially ash and dust. So you have the news media saying that, these people have been charred, impossible to get the remains, and they're showing you Maui melted with trees around the melted buildings, and we've been looking at scenes like this for years now. I mean, we've been talking about this since at least Paradise, California, November 8th, 2018, which we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary. So we've been looking at scenes like this now, where we live in this day and age where the media presents this to us, but there's no real investigative journalism, and they don't, ask the same questions that seemingly you and I'd be asking. How can that building be? How did a forest fire with that rapidly spread because of the winds of Dora that didn't make landfall? How did the heat of that fire melt still? You guys, I'm going to read this article, and right in the beginning, they reference how it looks like the scene of 9/11. Remember, there was a lot of energy involved in 9/11 because cars blocks away were melted as those buildings turned to dust as they fell into their own footprint, and seemingly like a miracle didn't tip over and crush all the other buildings around it. But we're going to look at all of this, and as we do it, if you guys have time, if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, if he has some social media profile on some platform you're on, if you can tweet at him to answer these questions. I'm not blaming Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but what I want to talk about is what's really going on in this world. Because I've been looking for answers to questions that just aren't there in the mainstream ever since I was 18 years old and September 11th happened. And anyhow, what we're going to talk about in this video is predictive programming through entertainment, things that end up becoming the real news that were previously just in a fictional scenario. And as we'll get to, Maui, the Polynesian fire god. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, recently played Maui in the Moana film that came out in 2016, 1 year after his San Andreas film. By the way, Maui, the Polynesian god, they are the god of fire and earthquakes. The Rock's also been in this big earthquake movie. But anyhow, at the beginning of this year, 7 years after the animated film, on April 3rd of this year, very symbolic day, April 3rd, as we'll get to. They say a very special thing happened on that day in history. Science came up with that around 2012. We'll get to it because it all points to what we're talking about. But on April 3rd, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson announced that there'll be a live action Moana. And I couldn't believe when I started to watch the trailer. I felt like I was watching the news of Maui. Anyhow, we'll watch it here in a second. We'll watch just the beginning of the trailer because I've even been getting my videos taken down for showing movie trailers. That was something I was always able to get away with. In the last year or so, when I show parts of a movie trailer, my videos are getting taken up for copyright. It's like, really? I can't even show a trailer? We'll show a small segment of the trailer from the upcoming Moana live action, and right away it's going to get into the ancestors of the land and then a terrible fire on the island. And isn't that the exact story we're hearing out of Maui? But yeah, we're going to, again, talk about Disney, who makes this film series, Hollywood in general, Pepsi, who, again, has the Maui Burst flavor that was also brought to stores in 2016, the year the Disney movie came out. And just think about it, the movie theater with your tub of popcorn and your big old Pepsi, unless it's that competitor and you got your Coca-Cola. But if you don't know, Pepsi is the biggest food company in North America. We're going to, again, go over all of this more efficiently than we have in other videos. But I want to talk about how perfect not only this fire Not only this fire that just happened in Maui, how perfectly synced it is with The Rock, who plays the character Maui for the huge Disney franchise that's being remade. And by the way, you guys, the live action remake's going to come out in 2025, the year that we've been pointing to for, it looks like the year that the Cabal has marked the X. If you're new here, what I show is who the Cabal is and what happened in the 16th century with the Jesuits and Europe, and then the formation of this country afterwards, and who really came over here and made sure that nobody was escaping Europe, and Europe's form of tyranny was going to spread across the world, which is exactly what's happening, which is what's going on right now, and which is what the people of the world need to wake up to. Again, instead of us spending all of our time and energy on a weekend giving away our wealth and our time to go watch the latest Disney release that might be predictive programming for the next Maui, we need to understand what's really going on, what Walt Disney really is, the brand at this point. Arguably the biggest brand in the world. What Hollywood is and who controls it. What these food companies are. Again, are they only in the business of profits, or is it more than that now? You know, are these the same companies part of this cabal that owns the Federal Reserve and controls people with money? And these people, they have so much money and access. Well, they don't even need money. They control the money system. They're the power keepers of the world. What are these people really doing right now? What is the real purpose of these companies? Is it to maximize profit? I mean, it doesn't seem like it for Budweiser, who's another part of this cabal as we've talked about. Man, they're losing all the profits. But again, what is going on at this moment in time, and what is really being done, and what are these companies that we do give our time and our money to? I just met my new neighbor, and right after she moved in, she said moving was so stressful. She said her favorite detox in the world is to fly down to Disneyland. It makes her feel like a kid again. She's almost the same age as me. I just turned 40. She's probably 5 years older than me. And I was just like, that is exactly, I didn't say anything bad. I was like, well, hey, have a great trip. That's what I said. But in my mind, I'm thinking something else. She's a school teacher too, And it's just, these people mean the best, but they don't see what the world really is. They don't understand how dark it is, how nefarious it is. These are the people that just mean well. They want to live a decent life. They want to give back to their community, teach their kids, go support their favorite enterprise as a child. So again, I'm really making this video for someone who is like my teacher, or, like my neighbor, the teacher who goes to Disneyland anytime she gets stressed out, which is probably something a lot of Americans do. They would not be doing this if they had better information, because they'd realize what Disney really is. And maybe some people couldn't handle it, and they'd be at the pharmaceutical line with even more anti-anxiety pills. But anyway, we need to find the demographic of Americans who can handle the information, the truth of what's going on in this world, and stop supporting these enterprises. And not just stop supporting them, but also then forming, instead of millions of people rushing into the theater or turning on Netflix to support the latest film, or Disney Plus, or whatever it is, instead of millions of people doing that at once like a movement, millions of people at once going out and being like, you know what? Instead of spending 2 hours on the couch, I'm going 2 hours out in my city to raise what just happened to Maui, because I don't want Maui to be the next, or I don't want there to be another Maui, period. I don't want my neighborhood to be the next Maui. I don't want anybody's neighborhood to be the next Maui. And it's not just the U.S., you guys. It's a world agenda what's going on right now, and occasionally America gets a taste of it. Other places have been getting tastes like this, and we don't hear as much about it. We care more about it when it's America. And this time it's Hawaii, the 50th and final state that was secured for military purposes. And again, our military has been admitting to weather warfare since Vietnam. And doesn't that scene right there that they keep showing that I have in the thumbnail, doesn't that scene remind you of Vietnam, or at least all the Vietnam Hollywood scenes you've seen? Napalm, military technology. Napalm first used at the end of World War II in Dresden. The U.S. and the Royal Air Force of the U.K. killed hundreds of thousands of war refugees who did not want to be part of the war, just burned them all up with the experimental use of napalm. Again, Kurt Vonnegut, the author, made it a point of how he lost total faith in his country because he was there to see it with his own eyes as an American soldier, and he never looked at America the same way again. How could my country, my military, drop napalm on people who want nothing to do with the war and kill hundreds of thousands over? And you know what? That started on the 44th day of the year, Lupercalia. We're going to get to 44 and where it connects The Rock and Maui and Moana. And remember how on the anniversary of the harp, we'll come to it all. For people who don't know anything about anything, let me not get ahead of myself. Let's go through this piece by piece, and I think right here is where I got to start. I got to play just... I'm scared about how many seconds I can get away with before they try to take down the video in this age of censorship where they're just looking for a reason. I'm going to try to get away with about 7 to 10 seconds of the Moana live action film coming out that The Rock announced at the start of this year. Again, here we are on an island. It's a different island, right? Because it's Polynesia. And hey, Polynesian people, you better look out because this Moana series is about Polynesia, and Maui's the Polynesian fire and earthquake god, and just really the whole world because this shit's going on all over. But watch this. Look at how this trailer begins. Maybe I better get the... if they take this video down, I'm going to be annoyed. We'll try to get away with more like 15 seconds. That's all we need. Watch.
For generations, this peaceful island has been home to our family. But beyond our great danger is coming.
Okay, that's all I'm going to show. Watch the rest of the trailer, but we got the island. First, it's getting pummeled with fire. Then it's getting pummeled with rain. Remember how the ritual's perfectly synced with Maui's flooding on March 8th, 2021, and the fire exactly 29 months later on August 8th. Again, we just covered that in recent days. We'll go back over it. But that just happens to be the beginning of Moana. Now, we're going to read this article, and then I'm going to bring it all really together. And it's a theme that I've been talking about forever. Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, the new Pearl Harbor 9/11. Pearl Harbor date December 7th, 127. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell on 9/11, creating the ground zero site. Again, I'm always talking about these things. The historical theming in the number 127. What I'm about to get to is how from the day that Rock announced that movie for that trailer, from that day to the burning of Maui was 127 days later. And again, there's a lot more to it. It totally connects Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which isn't too far from Hawaii. Again, this Maui thing just happened between the anniversary of Hiroshima, August 6th, and Nagasaki, August 9th on August 8th. Again, Hawaii was secured for the military strategy with Japan. And remember, Pearl Harbor, kamikaze Japanese pilots, 9/11, kamikaze pilots. Anyway, we got to read this article, and then I'm going to bring it together. Look how messed up this is. And we'll explain why they gave us the number 106, as they told us this really, I mean, just unbelievable detail if you're just thinking about it. I mean, a natural fire... I mean, was Maui just densely packed with... I mean, it doesn't make sense because the trees didn't burn. People have to be thinking about what's going on. None of these scenes make sense. These people are burned so bad from a wildfire they can't be identified? Are we sure they weren't on the Bikini Islands when a nuclear bomb went off in the original days of testing where the term bikini came from for a bathing suit because nothing was hotter? Anyway, look at this, you guys. I just started to read this morning, and I just got mad. I got mad that the world doesn't know what we've been teaching about, what I've been writing books about for a decade. Because, that's been the whole thing since I was 18. I saw 9/11. I knew it was a lie. I knew it was some kind of crazy military technology, and I thought, man, who could be next? Who could be next? Then what will be the story? What will the story be? Look at this. Identifying those killed in the Maui wildfires will be very difficult and likely take weeks, Hawaii's governor said. By the way, you just got your new governor. Maui burned up on his 247th day in office. How old is the United States of America right now? 247, right? I'm going to show you where that goes with the 9/11 thing. And another pattern we've been documenting all year with all the 247 rituals since the Illuminati turned 247, May 1st, 2023, and then America turned 247 right after that, July 4th. 2023. Again, the Illuminati, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. Maui, the latest about how they can only identify 5 people on the Jesuit order's birthday. The first act of weather warfare admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 1952. If you're new to my work, you're going to learn about 52 and why it matters that The Rock turns 52 next year on May 2nd. Huge pattern. But look at this. A genetics team will help identify victims, Hawaii Governor Josh Green told CNN, as around 185 search and rescue workers. This was said on his 185th day of his age. And we're going to get to where 185 matters. It's a huge number with 9/11. But look at this. Look at the next paragraph. This is the power of having the knowledge I have and looking at the news. Anyone who does not understand at least as much as I do about gematria and this cabal is at a disadvantage every time they read the news, because every day this is being done. That's why I teach this every day, so people can see the mockery and the repetitiveness and what the people who really rule over us are getting away with. If people understood as much as I did, they wouldn't be going to Disneyland. They wouldn't be supporting these theaters. They wouldn't be, misled by the news and their false puppet leaders that serve something that's much bigger than America. But look at this. As around 185 search, and again, on his 185th day of his age, this is saying, his birthday's February 11th, 185 search and rescue workers and 20 cadaver dogs continue to comb through the ashes of homes and businesses incinerated by the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century. Incinerated. This is much like you see in a war zone, or what we see with 9/11, Green said on The Source with Caitlin Collins. Don't remind me who just got the, if you didn't know, before the World Trade Centers come down, they were always owned by the Port Authority, which is essentially the city. And then coincidentally, right before they came down, a very wealthy man who might be related to Josh Green, you just don't know, Larry Silverstein. He just happened to get the lease and bought a huge, expensive insurance payout in case there's anything happened, and made a whole bunch of money off 9/11. And oh, man, these Jesuits, it reminds about their history. They're half, this religion and half this religion. But, and again, it's not to blame those religious groups. It's just to say the history of the Jesuits, and it becomes kind of easy to identify who's in the network when stuff like this is going down. But like we've said a million times, 9/11 happened 185 days after Osama bin Laden's birthday. And notice the gematria of World Trade Center. If you're new here, gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. World Trade Center is 185 with the alphabetic order. Osama bin Laden's birthday, March 10th, kind of like 10-3, like Pan Am 103, the other big, airplane terrorism event in world history before 9/11. But then Osama's birthday to 9/11, 185 days, going with World Trade Center. And that number's not arbitrary. Again, my first book, I write about where I think 185 comes with and how it relates to the human being, and of course, mathematics in the Catholic Church. It's a number that gets used. That's why they had to mention the 185 people on his 185th day of his age, as he compares it to 9/11. And didn't I just say where this whole thing fit in with Sodom and Gomorrah and Obama's birthday and gay rights and the mockery that they do? I know it can be too much for people to understand, but again, if you have enough processing power, you can see that what I've been teaching for a decade is right, and we've been shining the light on all the right places. That's why we've been censored and deleted and shadow banned to death, and that's why we need more people to get out and fight. By the way, you guys, part of the reason plans have been uncertain for what I'm going to do for the 9/11 anniversary, I think I'm actually going to be here in Seattle for that anniversary, but I want to, and it's probably not going to be the day of 9/11, but shortly after 9/11, close to that, I'm trying to make it work that I can fly out to Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii in my life, and it's not going to be much of a tourist trip. It's going to be there like I do when I go to all these cities. Just like I've never been to New York before. I spent the whole time speaking out. But go to Maui and teach about everything I'm going to say, but I'm going to put it into some handouts and just the most simplest way. If you've ever watched me preach on the corner, I'll stick to one number and one pattern, and we might have a few different slides for different segments of the corner, but really pound home 3-4 points, because there's a lot that can be pounded home, and I've hardly even gotten anything yet. But again, notice World Trade Center's 185 forwards. We talked about that. 247 in reverse. Again, the U.S. is 247 years old right now, and Maui just burned up on the 247th day of the governor being in office, as he gloats, or not gloats, but goes out and uses 9/11 and the 185. There are people that are aware of this knowledge beyond yours. That's what I hate that people come and accuse me. They're like, oh, Zach's just making it all connect because he studied so well. It's like, what kind of logical conclusion is that to come to about my work? I started looking at this because for a decade I saw that they were using numbers ritualistically in the news, starting with September 11th, 2001, a national emergency on 911 that didn't make any sense. But if you're new here, these 4 ciphers, I just want you to know, World Trade Center 77. If you write out September 11th as words, it's 77. The Pentagon, attack was all about 77. Flight 77 hit the 77th Meridian West 77 minutes after taking off on the anniversary of the Pearl Harbor, on the anniversary of Pentagon construction beginning on September 11th, 1941, right before Pearl Harbor. The governor also talked about 41 things of DNA in this. Pearl Harbor happened in 41, 9/11 happened on 41, date numerology, Al-Qaeda in Saudi Arabia are 41. Anyway, 185 was huge in the 9/11 ritual. 77 was huge in the 9/11 ritual. United States also equals 77. It was a day that changed America, D.C., the capital's on the 77th Meridian. I've never talked about 247 in the World Trade Center, I don't think ever, but it's really coming into focus right now with this ritual that they've just done, and now the governor, here, for there might be the person out there that's like, I don't believe that it was just 247 thing. Okay, here, Governor of Hawaii, let's get him up here, Josh Green. Josh Green, might be related to No More News. Let's see. Remember Adam Green, who plays this character online. He got back from Israel, and the first thing he did after he got back was he had me on, but then he attacked my work, and it's like, oh, that was weird. Anyway, a lot of people think he's legit. I don't know about that. Josh Green became governor of Hawaii, the 9th governor on December 5th. Oh, man, we're going to talk about that 9, too. We're going to talk about that 9. But 2022, he just assumed office at the end of last year. 8/8/2023 was his 247th day in office, while the country's 247, and so is the Illuminati, again founded by the Jesuits. So again, just look at it. And the only World Trade Center number I haven't hit yet is 94. Well, they opened on April 4th, 73, the 94th day of the year. Remember, the word terror is 94 and 68, like how everything went into motion in 68. World Trade Center construction, 911, the emergency dialing code, 2001, A Space Odyssey, the New York Jets' only Super Bowl winning season, Muhammad Atta, the lead hijacker born in 68, the first Muslim head coach in the NFL now for the Jets at this moment in history. There's a reason for all this, you guys. Terror's also 41, like I was just saying. 9/11/2001 had 41 date numerology. Pearl Harbor happened in 41. USA is also 41. Coming back to this article, the 41 thing. Family members of missing people had provided 41 DNA samples, county officials said. This whole thing is coded with the numbers that we've always educated about with 9/11. And again, the naysayer would come and be like, well, you also talk about 201 and 9/11. Yeah, I do, and it makes sense, doesn't it? If the numbers are a language, it's like, for all the people who come with these kind of arguments, they're almost arguing that verbal language, we should only be limited to speaking in 3 words total to describe everything. Fire, boom, bang day. It's like, the reason we have language and this code, why do organizations like the Jesuits also call themselves the Jesuit Order and the Society of Jesus? And seemingly all of the numbers that relate to that will stack in these rituals over and over, and it'll come back to the dates. Always. Like August 15th, the day they presented this, was the Jesuit Order's birthday. Look, you guys. You see how ground zero, again, is 127? Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell in 9/11. It was compared to Pearl Harbor, kamikaze pilots, events that started huge wars. But Pearl Harbor, December 7th. Okay? Again, this Moana film, the announced 127 days before this, the trailer begins with the island burning. And I was already making the point about how it's clearly connected to Pearl Harbor history. There was other ways to see that. But okay. Here's the Moana, the announcement date, April 3rd. Let me scroll down so you can see this. I know I got it in here. We'll talk about Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, being 51 right now, too. The Rock can be an island. But right here, beginning of the year, April 3rd, 2023, Moana live-action remake set at Disney with Dwayne Johnson returning. Dwayne Johnson announced a new live-action remake of Moana during the Disney shareholders meeting on April 3rd. So they were talking money, business. Now, I want you guys to think about that. If these films are meant to condition our minds that, man, this is kind of the world we're living in right now, good thing we have a government that wants to solve the problems. You know, I guarantee I go talk to I bet the lady over there I bet you anything, without knowing her that well, you know, just she's a nice American lady. She's going to Disney because she's stressed out after the move. It helps her feel better. She's a teacher. She is on summer break, but she's about to go back to school, I suppose. Well, actually, teachers have a lot of stuff to do even in the off season. They make teachers keep up with continual schooling and training now. It's like they want everybody stressed out. But I was gonna say, I bet anything she's watching all the donations in the news to donate to the Moana victims on all the news stations right now. Text in to donate this much, call this much to donate this, hit this website to donate this. We all these ritualistic, horrible things that happen. We see the major fundraising, and it's exploiting people's goodness, right? That's why people have to wake up to the system. They have to stop closing their eyes and putting the blindfolders over. They have to understand what people like me have been teaching for a long time is not wrong. It would be impossible for me to keep talking about the same stuff over and over. To make a further point about what's been done here, this movie was announced on April 3rd. Very special day to the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits who are doing this. Again, their legacy is the Templars. The Templar legacy is Desmoulins and Disney. All of this stuff goes back to Rome. But April 3rd is supposedly the crucifixion date for Jesus. This was found in the 21st century, this Jesuit takeover century. Again, this was the news around 2012-ish. Big news that was Jesus' crucifixion date. And just to explain, again, we're on a calendar that's after the Catholic Church, and we're on a language that's credited to a Catholic monk, and the calendar and the language were standardized at the same moment in the 16th century after the establishment of the Jesuits, some decades earlier in that same century. But crucifix is 93, right? God's Son is 93. God's Son 93, Nazareth 93, the 930th chapter of the Bible is where the crucifixion begins. Somebody's trying to call in right now. Rich, I see your call right now, but let me be done before you call in. I'll take your call eventually. Nazareth 93, and again, 930th chapter of the Bible is where the Christian section begins. In Sumerian gematria, which is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6, look at Christianity. Christianity, 930, right? So they got to tell you on this calendar that Jesus was crucified on the 93rd day of the year. Now, I'm just establishing the significance of that date to the Jesuits. Again, Maui and how nobody can hardly be identified because they were turned to it was like a volcano hit them. Again, this news is coming out on the Jesuit Order's birthday. Now look, they founded the Order of Illuminati, which we'll come to. That's another 93. The Order of Illuminati is essentially Catholic Jesuit. They're a sun cult. They say the sun is 93 million miles away. The sun is fire. Maui just burned up. Sun gods. Things that are hot. Look at how atomic bomb is 93, right? The atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki August 6th, August 9th. Okay? Maui, not far from Japan, gets it between the anniversaries of those dates. And the last pilot to drop the bomb on Nagasaki, he was 93 years old. There was a big deal about how he was 93, the last pilot to drop the bomb. The World Trade Centers in Manhattan had the 93 bombing, the 93 World Trade Center bombing. They blamed it on the blind sheik. 93. So, 93, the bomb. Japan's 93 as well. We've been talking about, again, these are separate lessons that we've each taught a million times. Jesus in 93 in the Bible, and where the Jesuits fit in, and 9/11, 93 World Trade Center bombing, Hawaii, Japan, parallels, New Pearl Harbor, 127, all this stuff taught so many times. See, my frustration right now and why I haven't been able to finish my last book for the last 3 years is I write it and I like it, and then I always go to the thinking of like, but what about the people who don't get it? Is this still too complicated? It's like I feel like as I'm presenting this video, all of this needs to be understood, but I just know how people are at the same time too. The same ones that love Disney and watch the news and vote and think everything's a conspiracy theory that they don't want to hear about. You know, it's just like, it's like, how do you reach these people? Can they be reached? Maybe that's exactly what we're witnessing as this stuff's happening at this moment in history. They don't expect anything more from us than to eat their junk food and consume their entertainment. And until they're fully ready to move on from our labor and what we contribute to the system, you know, for the meantime, they'll just keep us right where we are because that's how the majority of people are until they do the next Maui to you. And now you're ash and nobody can even recognize you, not even your mama, because you're a pile of, black soot from the wildfire that they're getting away with talking about in the news. The same news where nothing ever made sense. I was 18 years old when they didn't know shit about 9/11, but they already had all the terrorist passports. They'd recovered them from the rubble. They couldn't find the plane or anybody else, but they had all the terrorist passports. Literally like some prop news anchor person holding up a passport talking about this supposed terrorist who just did this horrible thing to our country because they hate us for our freedom. Oh, I'm sure that's what happened that day as Bush just got in, and now we're going right back to the part of the world where his father was when he was president, after he just got snuck in after the brand new Hollywood release of The Skulls about Skull and Bones. R.I.P. to what happened to Paul Walker, who starred in that movie, gets a red Porsche in the movie, dies in a red Porsche in a weird way, 5 years to the day of Papa Bush, the first Skull and Bones Bush president. But again, Hollywood back then, giving us the movie right before Bush gets elected, number 43 in the state, where his brother was the 43rd governor of Florida, where he was on 9/11, where Tom Brady went down to at age 43 in the scripted NFL, where everybody's going to Disney World after they win the big game. Where you going, Tom? I'm going to Disney World. People are under a magical spell. It's funny. For me, this is just mind-blowing because when I was an 18-year-old, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I knew there was something about numbers, and I was being lied to, and I'm just trying to make sense of everything as an 18-year-old and only knowing what you know, which isn't a lot. But I came to the conclusion that, maybe magic was a real thing because it seemed to me that everybody was under a spell. Everyone was just going right along with the 9/11 story, which was the most obvious lie there ever was, and people were getting mad at me for questioning everything and pointing out things that didn't make sense. I was researching it, questioning it, trying to find out all I could, trying to talk to people. Everybody's getting mad. Everybody's getting mad. You sound crazy. I sound crazy? Our nation's a military empire. They know how to make big bombs. We made the big bomb, Manhattan. But anyway, look at this, you guys. We haven't even got to the sickest part about why they said 106 people. 106 people, they can only identify 5. The rest they've all been cremated from the wildfire. Got cremated in their homes, burned everything to dust. Don't ask me how the tree's still standing over there. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Let me get the right post up here. Did I scroll through all of it? Okay, we hit the 93rd day of the year, 127 days later. Pearl Harbor, the new Pearl Harbor. The governor with this mockery comparing this to 9/11. 106, you guys. Nuclear bomb 106, right? This is the evolution of the Manhattan Project. The nuclear bombs were tested down in the Bikini Islands, also not too far away. This is the part of the world that we acquired for military purposes, and there's been a lot of bomb testing down there. What I'm saying is, this is a military weapons test. I can't call it a test. This was a live action. Yeah, just like Moana, it was a live action. They did this on a town where people were, and because of the bullshit-ass media that we have that's never held accountable by the brain-dead people who watch it and believe it, who watch Anderson Cooper tell you you're not a real man if you don't get down with the Pfizer rushed-out jab. You're not a real man, says Anderson Cooper. And then it goes to commercial. This segment sponsored by Pfizer. I mean, that's where America is right now. They're not seeing how obviously controlled all this shit is in the American corporation. Like, what is America really? A giant military weapon for world control that uses all these schemes to control, including mind control, seemingly the biggest weapon of all. But isn't it funny that nuclear bombs 106? And remember, that's been the thing for the last decade, to start calling storms nuclear. Remember, that was never going on. And then lately, nuclear storm. Oh, a nuclear storm causing a... What other terminology they use? Some bomb cyclone. A bomb cyclone. Bomb cyclone? You guys, our government admitted to weather warfare testing. This has been something that the president has been talking about for a long time. JFK gave it in a positive light in 61 on September 25th. JFK, September 25th. Remember, Public Enemy put out What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down on September 25th, and the big ritual that was synced up with the Valentine's Day blackouts that went from Houston to Portland to Atlanta. But JFK, he gave the nice side of how weather control was this thing in the future that was going to save the world. It might have been exactly what he thought was going to happen. Didn't realize the psychopaths are going to take over and say, no, we're not going to save the world, man. We're going to save our own ass and create the world we want. Biblically coded, man. We're getting rid of all you goyim turds. We've sold enough popcorn and Disney movies and Pepsi soda to you. We got the AI to replace you. Anyway, nuclear bomb, and also the fact that in the news they're comparing it to Pompeii. And we're right up on the Pompeii anniversary. The victims look like they got hit by Vesuvius from Pompeii. That's why they can't be identified. I mean, are you kidding me? This is what I'm saying they're doing. These people are clever as hell. This is evil genius. Paying tribute to history. And all roads lead to Rome. Where's Vesuvius at? So look. I put Japan up here. Okay, good. I didn't make it part of the list. Look, you guys. Look at this gematria right here. Look at how Maui, Moana, HARP. Remember the HARP anniversary, the military technology that has the power to quake the ground, concentrate all this energy, can influence weather. HARP's patent date is August 11th. On August 11th this year, Lahaina equals 44. I should have had it up there. The town that got wiped out is 44. But on the anniversary of the HARP patent, the media's focus was on how this town was totally destroyed where all these wealthy people live, but somehow Oprah's property survived. Laser precision. And isn't it funny that direct energy weapons are laser weapons? All these people had bad luck, but Oprah unscathed. And then they try to make Oprah the hero, as she's part of this cabal and never talks about it. That's what I hate. I hate people that are bad people that pretend to be good people. You know, there's a lot of fraudulent people like that in this world. And it's sad that people are trying to make me look like that type of person. I've been doing this every day for a decade. Over the first half of it, never raised a penny, always been consistent, always been on point, and brought something to the world that could actually stop the world. To say that anything I've done is fraudulent is to not understand what a fraud is. A fraud is a fraud. What I brought is real knowledge, real truth, to stop something that is true fraud. I'm exposing fraud every day. And notice the losers who make those videos, they're nameless people, faceless people, probably the same people that I'm talking about right now, using the power of being anonymous online. Ballless losers. Anyway, back to the point. 44, the military killing number that we've talked about so many times, fits here with Maui. Again, Maui in reverse is 64. That's really the big one because Hawaii turns 64 this year, August 21st, meaning that 64 years as a state, you know, part of the flag with 13 stripes that began with 13 colonies that does the 13 years of slave school. Maui burned up 13 days before its birthday. And you see how Moana and HARP are 91 in reverse where Maui's 64? 91's the 13th triangular number, meaning if you had 1 through 13 together, it equals 91. So it burns up 13 days, and it's just wait until we get to the rock part. But notice the overlap with Maui and Moana. Maui's actually the exact same as kill in every cipher. Let me add kill to further the point. Maui and kill are identical in all ciphers, and these numbers are so deadly. We just talked about the death of the Ravens Seahawks player, and dead at 28 and synced up with their opening game and or their game that's a few weeks into the season. But anyway, Gematria, the killing name. The song Gematria, the killing name says America is a killing name. This ritual synced with America's birthday, right? If you don't know the song Gematria, the killing name, look it up. Look it up. And their lead singer is feeling the pressure of this work because that band's hearing about it through social media, and you can tell it's driving the lead singer crazy. He's attacking people like me without saying names, and it's like, you sound pathetic, dude. You just had a daughter of your bandmate die, and you asked for all the flowers to be sent to the Masonic Temple. You don't think you're fueling the conspiracies of what's going on? A daughter dies and send the flowers to the Masonic Temple? Again, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation, you guys. A lot of Jesuits and Masons in the military, working by the secret society knowledge that most people don't have a clue about. But yeah, military and weather, just Notice the overlap. The word earthquake's also 44. The rock Maui, fire god, earthquake god, and I forgot to mention. Maui's a Polynesian god. Polynesia's got a lot of islands. Polynesia's got the 127 and the 44 as well. So this also fits in, right? Maui, the Polynesian fire god. 127 days after the Disney announcement, Maui burns up. Two date distances that are interesting to me are 38 days from this incident and also 44 days from this incident with Polynesia. I won't be surprised if we're hearing about it. Remember what they did last year with the Biblical Philadelphia and the Grammys? Or was that the beginning? That was the beginning of this year, actually. Oh my God, man. Just the stuff we've been exposing with weather warfare and how sick it is. But 44 days later in Polynesia is concerning, and 38 days later is concerning as well. Let me see if this is the posts. So Moana released on the day leaving 38 days left in the year. And that's a death, murder, killing, RIP. They're all 38. When Maui flooded, it was March 8th. And then exactly 29 weeks later, it flooded. You see how fire's got the 38 and 29? Fire and flood also have the overlap with 25. And they said that flooding was the worst in Hawaii in 25 years. It was also Maui. And yeah, again, I think they're going to continue to terrorize Hawaii because it's just such a perfect symbol for Agenda 2030. It's a beautiful place that the world loves, where a lot of people have been there. And it's a place that if they attack, people feel that in their heart, and then they'll be more likely, they will, like my neighbor will be more likely to submit to any environmental agenda. She will. The lady who's going to Disney because she's stressed out, who teaches kids, I guarantee. She's not a bad person, but she's just under the spell. She doesn't see what's going on. If we got to do some radical changes, boost taxes a lot, take away rights and liberties to save the world so there's not another Maui, she'll be on board with that. I just know it. I know that she's that kind of person, right? And it's not because she's bad. It's because she's under mind control. And I know if I was talking to her, I'd have to slow this down a lot and stick to one number and just do it. But yeah, for the person who's watching this video, just keep paying attention, keep understanding. This knowledge, though, it can pull people out of the spell. If it's presented right to that lady, she might come out of the spell too. But yeah, just the 38 thing with the fire and just the death. And by the way, look at Dora and fire. Dora, fire. The exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers, including the 38. Similar to death. And fire brings death, and death came to Maui. And again, exactly 29 weeks or months after the 3/8 unprecedented flooding in 25 years, which they said also brought death. But I'm thinking 38 days later, 44 days later. 44 days later is September 21st. A span of 44 days would be September 20th. 38 days later would be 6 days before that, so September 15th, or the span would be September 14th. But yeah, if we see anything happen in Polynesia in those days, I mean, just keep following this theme, because yeah, we figured out what these psychopaths are doing. And here, speaking of psychopaths, again, I'm not blaming Dwayne Johnson, but I'd like Dwayne. That's the thing. If Dwayne Johnson watched this video and embraced this video and started speaking out in a big way about, he's not going to ever work for Disney again. He sees what it is, this Illuminati cabal. He's done with it. Isn't he in a movie right now where he's some kind of weird superhero that's like destroying the earth as well? But if Dwayne Johnson would give this presentation, then the world will wake up, because the world loves celebrities. Look at this, though. He's 51 years old while this happens. Hawaii's 51. And again, Maui is connected to fires and earthquakes. He's also in the big Hollywood blockbuster about the earthquake in California, the San Andreas fault line. San Andreas released 9 days after his birthday. And next year, the year he turns 52, turns 52 on 5/2, the first act of weather warfare admitted to in 52. or Harold, let me put up a different list of words here. The 52 list, you got to know this one as well. Why it matters so much that The Rock's turning 52. And also, you know what? California's on that 52 list as well. But, again, Earth is 52. Flood is 52. Enlil is 52. Devil's 52. Pope's 52. Special number. We're on a calendar named after the Pope with the 52-week year. Look at the overlap with Devil, Enlil, Flood, Earth. The exact same in nearly every cipher. The only one where it breaks is Flood. Flood doesn't have the 29 like the others. It's the exact same in every cipher. In Genesis 8:3, biblical, the flood ends in Genesis 8:3 after 150 days. Illuminati's 150. They say the sun's 150 million kilometers away. There's a reason that they had to report... we're talking about April 3rd? Remember, that's the day they buried Brandon Lee next to Bruce Lee. And all their death parallels through Game of Death. But they buried him on Alec Baldwin's birthday, only for Alec Baldwin to kill somebody on a movie set. And the guy on the movie set who was there was also on the set when Brandon Lee died. It's like, come on, man. Look all this stuff. It's all facts. But they had to report that Baldwin had that shooting at 1:50 p.m. That had to be in every news source because, again, these numbers are a language. The Illuminati's real, founded by the Jesuits. The Jesuit network is very real. This is, again, it's not all Jesuits, but it is all Illuminati. And does The Rock know about it? I mean, is the Rock, who knows what's going on with The Rock? But if The Rock can digest this video and talk to the world, just to put that out there, the world would listen to The Rock. That's sad, the sad reality about this world. If The Rock was doing, imagine if The Rock had been doing this for a decade, the world would have already won the war. Because they need a celebrity to do it. But anyway, Enlil is the Babylonian god that has these parallels with the devil who's connected to flooding and destruction. So it also kind of fits in with the Maui thing. All right? So The Rock's turning 52 on 5/2 next year. We documented many rituals with The Rock over the year. This isn't the first time, again, that the stars of this world that have the mind's eye of the masses, that we know that this is what's going on, and that's why it's so perfect. And maybe I still haven't even made the point. Again, from The Rock's birthday to Maui burning up was his 99th day of his age, directed energy weapon 99. What was the death toll at going into the Jesuit order's birthday? They were on 99 deaths, that they could confirm. And it's just sick for it to be this way. Why is there no reporting on the number of people who are missing? Like, I'm not seeing that in the stories. I was watching and listening to the news this morning while I was decoding for like over an hour. I kept hearing them say these numbers of confirmed dead, but I was like, can somebody give me a number of like how many people are missing? You're bringing on people who said had they not reacted right when they did, they don't think they would have lived. I mean, I just watched them interview a woman who said, she jumped in the ocean just in time and it felt even hot in the ocean. It's like, this is a wildfire. You're in the ocean and the flames are nearly... I saw them say on the news this morning, actually, that they think that there's charred people who were destroyed in the ocean. What? They think some of the bodies just got washed out because they died in the ocean from the heat. I mean, come on, man. A wildfire that just goes through a town just in no time. You didn't react. You got burned up. God. The fact that they can get away with telling these whoppers, 9/11 and beyond, and people still don't get it, man. It's that Disney thing, the magical world of Disney. This is it. Okay, so yeah, we've been talking about the directed energy weapon thing with Pepsi Cola in a big way. And let me make sure I hit everything on these slides. I'm going to get to the Pepsi piece next. Again, it's funny. When I was in college, one of the best professors I had, he made us read this book called Movie Made America. And I just wonder now, because I was at Arizona State University, and he wrote for one of the Los Angeles papers. And he did articles in there for film-related stuff. He was in the film business. But he made us read this book called Movie Made America. I almost want to go back and read it because he said, you guys have no idea how important this book is. And I just think back about that. Like, maybe he was like trying to give us a clue. Movie Made America, just all the predictive programming. How many movies were made that foreshadowed 9/11 before it happened? I mean, it's ridiculous. Movies, shows, comic books, music, album covers. It's absurd. It's absurd. So what we're saying about a Disney film, that again, Disney, larger than life company. Look at all the stuff Disney owns. Look at all the stuff Pepsi owns. About to get how Pepsi and Mountain Dew for DEW, for direct energy weapon, fits perfect because Hawaii's mountains peeking out of the ocean. And they, again, there's been a lot of military experimentation down in Hawaii, which was literally secured for military purposes. That was what was explained by Teddy Roosevelt. If you guys look up Teddy Roosevelt when he was explaining why we needed to acquire Hawaii and make it a state, Teddy Roosevelt literally said that if we did not get Hawaii, the Asians would take over the world. I think he might even explain them as the mongrel race or something like that. Teddy Roosevelt said that the white population would be destroyed in time if we didn't get Hawaii. He explained that Hawaii, controlling those islands, is so important to military strategy at this day in the world. So again, that's something that's paramount to understand. You need to look into that history. And imagine, I mean, that part of the reason they can't present history like that anymore is because they don't want you to think about the past. They want you to think the only racists in the past were people like Adolf Hitler. You know, it wasn't a U.S. president who was talking about why we need to take this island for the benefit of the white race. I mean, that just doesn't go over today. But that's the reality of the history of how we got Hawaii. And now you have all these darker complected people there who are rightfully outraged. You know, in the time the Europeans have been here, now our cultural home that we've lived on for thousands of years is just, it's ash. In fact, my ancestors are now ash. They might be in the ocean. I don't even know what happened to them. But that European media, you know, they're just saying, you know, the authorities are doing their best to find, and it's a serious tragedy, and we need to be alarmed because things are getting crazy. Climate change is real. Go out and vote for your next governor who's going to fight climate change. It's like, oh, is that the lane of discussion we should be in? How about who has the keys to the military? Can we take away the keys to this military machine that just got used on Maui? Yeah, that might be a hard pill to swallow that somebody in the U.S. military just fucking eradicated a U.S. town, but let's have that conversation so the next U.S. town doesn't happen. Let's talk about it like adults. Let's make America great again. It's not going to be with Donald Trump, the little Jesuit scumbag that everybody's fooled by. He's part of this too, Mr. Calm Before the Storm, Mr. 88. If you missed all the work on that, check that out. Biden, Trump, they're all part of it. They're all in this Jesuit cabal. But yeah, this was what the media focused on all day. We're going to get to the Pepsi thing, but all day on August 11th, the anniversary of the HARP patent, Lahaina's gone. Just destroyed. Lahaina, 44 like HARP. Like Maui, like Moana, like military, like kill, like execution, like the rest of the list. A pattern we've talked about a gazillion times. All the people killed in connection to 44. William Henry Harrison, JFK, Malcolm X, MLK, and many more. Huge recurring kill number. Harp bounces off the heavens with the beams it sends up. The angels play the harps in heaven. Another biblical joke. I guess the historical name for Lahaina is Puamana. I just noticed that Puamana, there's more to that 67 than I put up there. Satanic is 67 and 22, and that's what this is, right? This is a satanic cabal. Hey, speaking of the U.S. military, Michael Aquino, high-ranking member of the Church of Satan, high-ranking member of the Pentagon. Haven't they given us these clues over the years about the affiliations with, say, like the Pentagon and Satan and Satan and fire, and it's just, this stuff's so gross, man. So anyway, like I was saying, I am going to try to get over to Hawaii close to September 11th and give the presentation there about this Disney film. I'm going to connect. I'll start with why the governor brought up 9/11. We'll go to the damn governor's place. I'm going to get to Hawaii pretty soon, you guys. It has to be done. I feel bad about not being in New York for 9/11 and LA for Kobe Bryant Day. I'm going to get out to these places too. But like I said, I got to get these short books out. I got to get the revenue coming back in. People falling off and not doing anything to come back and help fight what the big tech companies are doing to silence me. Not enough people trying to step up and help out and counter. It's been disheartening to me, but I'll keep fighting. But yeah, the trip that's going to be in the near future is getting out to Hawaii for this. And it's perfect because Sweet Lady has to go visit a family member. It's going to be between September 13th and 18th, I think. And she's ironing out exactly what dates it's going to be close to there. But when she gets her schedule for when she's going to go visit her family in Denver, Guess where yours truly is going to be going? I'll be going out to Hawaii. And again, I've never been there before, but this seems like the right time to go there to me. You know, I travel these days to get out a message about what's going on in this world and try and wake people up and help people out and stop this next thing from happening. So for people in Hawaii, if any of you are out there, look for that announcement soon. I'll know soon what date she's on, and I'm gonna travel while she's gone. She'll agree to that because I'm not around. We're separated anyway, so it's perfect. But yeah, I'll bring it together just with 9/11, Pearl Harbor, 127, and 127 days later, and how this all goes together. The Polynesia thing and everything. And sadly, you know what? We might be looking at Polynesia not too far from now. They've been doing crazy weather stuff with New Zealand and Australia in a major way, and the whole time we've been talking about everything going on with Agenda 21 and 2030. Again, for people in Maui, if you don't know, like us in the States, we weren't really hearing about the fire that started early August 8th. It wasn't really the news on August 8th. All this other stuff was Tory Lanez, and August 9th, this took over the news. So I find that mind-blowing in light of how bad it was in Maui on August 8th that the media kind of sat quiet. And that shows you what our news media is. There's a unprecedented crazy fire going on in Maui and Hawaii, and we're not even really hearing about it until the next day. And I get the joke of why they did it August 9th. You know, I was making the point here. Ignatius Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, he said, go forth and set the world on fire, 144, like Jesuit order, like Pearl Harbor Day, like I'm always talking about this. They're just waiting until the next fire they set, the political assassination with the latest 144. Lincoln on 14/4, JFK 144 days from the Pope, RFK at 144 in the morning. Now his son gets in the race 144 days after the Jesuit Superior General's birthday, and then does his formal announcement on Ignatius Loyola Day 2 weeks later. The founder of the Jesuits. The first act of weather warfare admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday. They got the Art of War code all over Pearl Harbor too. And remember, Art of War was translated by a Jesuit. It's just these people, man, getting away with this. But yeah, that's why we heard about Maui on the day leaving 144 days left near August 9th. I guarantee it. That's why they waited. Guaranteed. We know why they did it on August 8th too. We just showed all the reasons for that. But this just shows you the structure of it. And that's why they had to wait till the Jesuit order's birthday to tell you they could only identify 5 people so far out of only... And so that's why, too, if you watch the news, that they've identified 106 remains, but they're saying, like, you know, some remains might be all the way gone. So they might not have seen, like, somebody that was actually in an area they went through. See, I always knew it on 9/11 as an 18-year-old. I always had the right idea in my head. Everybody would tell me, like, the people who understood where I was coming from after 9/11, I had some older professors who say, like, yeah, but, you know, worrying about this stuff, it's only going to get you in trouble in this world. And I'd just be like, okay, if we don't address what just happened in New York City on 9/11 and that lie, who's it going to happen to next? And it's happened in a lot of next since then. Maui's the latest. And as I say that, who knows? Maybe actually, the reason I know that Maui's the latest, because that's the latest thing they reported on. This could have happened in Maui, and if they'd never report on it, nobody'd ever hear about it. That's the thing, too. These people control the information that's in our minds. So here's the Superior General of the Jesuits. Just happened to happen, you know, when they announced the news 95 days before his birthday. You know, when it was took over the news, Maui, Hawaii, the Jesuits created to counter the 95 Theses. This is their number. That's why Robert F. Kennedy got in the race in the 144 ritual 144 days after his birthday, his last birthday, and on the 95th day of the year. And again, just to go through this on 8/8, August 8th, Energy 88, Weapon 88, direct energy weapon, real thing. Jewish 88, synced up with the new Jewish governor, Josh Green, and who just came out and compared it to 9/11. And August 8th leaves 145 days left in the year. In the Catholic Bible, there's 145 more chapters in the Jewish Old Testament. You have the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where God makes it rain fire to destroy the people who disobeyed him. Homosexuality is a big part of the story. That's where sodomized comes from. And this happened 4 days after number 44's birthday. Okay? whose biggest legacy is what he did for homosexual rights and popularizing homosexuality with a lot of young people in America. That's the Barack Obama number 44 legacy, elected 44 years after the Civil Rights Act. 4 days after his birthday. Sorry, Maui. And remember what happened the day after his birthday? Sorry, Simba. Remember, Obama joked that he was Simba. Simba 44. The Simba voice actor dies the day after Obama's birthday. And Leo the lion. Lion King's another 44 like Simba. He died at age 47 like president, like White House, like government, like authority, like Obama took the White House at age 47 with the 47th Vice President Joe Biden, who became president 47 years after being in D.C. But anyway, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. August 8th, the day this happened, the day leaving 145 days left in the year. Sodomite's another 44 word for the record. Like Maui, like military, like Moana. Yeah, and that's a new thing too, right, with Disney? And don't think Ron DeSantis is your hero. You're watching my video and thinking, like, I'm voting for Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is on puppet strings. And we've been showing that for years. If you think that's wrong, do some more research and you'll see the same puppet strings he's on are the same ones that Trump's on and Biden's on and a lot of these people are on. That's why you know about them. You know about the things they want you to know about. They got to give you good guys and villains. For one person, Ron DeSantis is the hero, another, he's the villain. That's how they know they got us divided. But yeah, Hawaii turning 64 years old, 13 days after the fire. And again, 1964. Let me get all this up for 64. I got so many different things here, points I want to make about. But, okay, 1964, Hurricane Dora was significant. It was in Florida, so Florida might want to think about that. You got Disney World down there. Florida had Dora in 64. 1964, Pepsi bought Mountain Dew, who recently put out the flavor Maui Burst, as it bursts into flames. And again, Hawaii's turning 64 this month, and Maui equals 64 like Kill. And Pepsi, biggest food company in North America. Pepsi, the Pepsi Cola Company, 216 like directed energy weapon like Hurricane Dora. Okay? 6 times 6 times 6 is 216, the Beast. Beast also has the Gematria of 88. Also has the Gematria of 47, since we just brought that up. There was a lot of Beast rituals on 8-8. That's what we were focused on. What was going on in 8-8 was just all the stuff they were doing with the Beast. And the Beast is fire, right? So for your Beast ritual, Maui's also burning up. Polynesian fire god. But also noteworthy. So this Maui Burst flavor. I got so many things here. Let me find the right one. Where did I put it at? Okay, the Maui Burst flavor was first introduced to stores October 16th, 2019. 199 weeks from the fire. That's the 46th prime number. Catholic is 145 and 46. Again, 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. The Jewish section, 145 more chapters. And this is perfectly synced with the new Jewish governor. Again, and I'm not blaming Jewish people. That's not the point. The point is, I'm talking about the Jesuits, which are a Catholic-Jewish alliance, which is a small minority of Catholics and Jews. So we're talking about a small minority of these religious populations, but people need to know what's going on. Again, Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses. He went after Catholics and Jews with the Protestant Reformation. He said they could not exist in Europe if there was going to be a good Christian society. Martin Luther King Jr., who assumed the name Martin Luther, would be assassinated in 95 or on the 95th day of 1968, like Martin Luther in the 95 Theses. Again, everything that's going on, these number patterns, these number rituals. It's why the Jesuits were recognized on September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. Again, Maui burns up 90 or is in the news for being burned up 95 days before the Superior General's birthday. But this Catholic thing is so perfect, and then adding on to the Catholic thing, from Hawaii's last birthday to the burning was the 353rd day of the state's age, which is the 71st prime. So Catholic 71, 145, 46, all part of the ritual. Am I missing something with 35? Probably. I know the San Andreas film came out on JFK's birthday, number 35. That's May 29th, the 149th day of the year, the 35th prime. 35 relates to the sun. We are in the time of the sun, but there's probably something more specific. I mean, 35 is kind of like the number 353 as well. But anyway, you can see the ritual. You can see the Sodom and Gomorrah tribute. And again, it's because the Jesuits are doing this. These people are clever. Again, it's like when you paint or make an artwork. It's supposed to have all this different symbolism, ideas coming together in one object or one creation. This is their creation. Maui, August 8th, for the ongoing agenda of world control and world dominance, where we don't even need people anymore because we got AI that are way better. In fact, I can actually make an AI woman robot now that almost, satisfies all my needs. That's where we are at this day and age, you guys. People being phased out. A generation that grew up on Terminator, where technology overtakes man. And you got all these Jesuit puppets like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg convincing everybody they want to live in virtual reality and have wires hooked up to their brain like they're Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, except for in the slime tube. Okay. But yeah, the other thing is, so with this Maui, what is it? Mountain Dew Maui Burst flavor. And it's funny, since I was a little kid, people knew not to drink Mountain Dew. We'd always say that that's the soda that, like, it was back in the news back then that had some chemical in it, some weird chemical that shrinks your testosterone and nerfs your sperm in your balls. We understood that wasn't good as a kid. We're like, why would I drink that soda? Sounds like it'll make me a pussy. We were like in second grade and we got that. Anyway, they made this an official flavor because I guess it was like a temporary flavor on October 16th, but February 1st, 2020 becomes the real deal flavor. And from that day to this, 183 weeks. Pepsi Cola Company, just dropped the. Pepsi Cola Company, 183. Joshua Booth Green, the governor who it synced up with, 183. Order Out of Chaos, 183. We've been talking about 183 and Pearl Harbor for so long. Pearl Harbor's 183. Again, 199 weeks from the initial launch. The 46 Prime Chaos, 46. For the record, Chaos is also 89, like how we were seeing this on 8-9. There was something about 19 I forgot, too. Too many damn things to keep straight. And again, you had that 808. Hawaii's the 808 area code. 808. 88, it burns up. They had the 808 missile scare back in 2018, which was synced up with NFL star who's from Hawaii. Oh my God, his name's escaping me right now. All the Hawaiian people watching this know exactly. Marcus Mariota from Hawaii. He was playing against the Patriots that day of the missile scare. It was an NFL playoff. He was on the Titans back then. Titan missiles. They had a missile scare that day, and it was the anniversary of the USS Boston landing on Hawaii, back when kind of the U.S. military was getting the Hawaiian people in line for being taken over by America. And that wasn't an accident. That was a ritual. Sports, news, Illuminati Jesuits running the whole damn show. Entertainment, sports, Disney, your military, your government, your news, they're controlling it. But yeah, we covered that in a big way. That's one of many Hawaii rituals we've covered over the years. There's a lot of weird stuff that's gone on with Hawaii and weather warfare and scares and rituals. But that was a big 88 thing too. And now we're hearing about, remember last year on August 6th, the nuclear weapons guy at the United Nations, Mr. 201, he said that the nuclear threat from the Russia and Ukraine and what's going on with other countries and where China might fall, that the nuclear threat at this moment in history is very real. On the anniversary of Hiroshima, he said that. Now we're close to those anniversary dates, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Russia's been doing the 88 rituals too. Energy, weapons, big bombs. Realize, they can do whatever they want and tell us the story, and next thing you know, we're at war with one of these countries, and it's like, did they even do anything? It's just like Pearl Harbor, right? Putin and Biden met on Pearl Harbor Day right before Russia-Ukraine. They had to meet on the anniversary of World War II jumping off for America of all days. Come on, you guys. This stuff's a joke. This is a mockery. Pearl Harbor has the big 60 connection. The American Civil War has the big 60 connection. It's the 60th presidential election. They're doing all the rituals right now. All these little fires that are brewing for America. We're watching the New Rome burn, and it's ugly. And I'm not surprised. The good thing about being me right now is mentally, even though I don't like this, and it drives me nuts witnessing it, at least I'm prepared for this, because this is where I thought we were going when I was 18 years old on 9/11. I said, if they'll do this, they'll do something else in the future. What will it look like? How much worse can it get? Wildfires swept the entire West Coast through Montana. Could be millions dead, but so far we can only confirm 33 people. Week later, the death toll's up to 93, but there could be many more because we haven't heard from the entire West Coast. That's where we are. People will be watching on the East Coast. So, like, anybody know anybody on the West Coast to call? Oh my God. All this 9 and 99 stuff. This guy's the 9th governor. While America's 247 on the 247th day, testing out the new tools on the last secured state for the big ritual. Just wild. Oh, it's wildfire, the singular. That's right. And they are blaming this on a wildfire. But yeah, just the 50th and final state wiped out with the wildfire. If you guys didn't know, America's also 50. You know, the capital, Washington's 50. Special number that has to do with circles. Oh yeah, actually that image they showed of like the ring burning around the whole island. It was like a circle. The word circle's 50. The first thing you do in magic is you make a circle. I'm reminded about the Bill Gates or the Da Vinci Code Inferno movie that came out on Bill Gates' birthday, Mr. Population Control. Remember that one? God, did that come out on Bill Gates' 64th birthday? Let me see something real quick. Inferno movie release date. It's part of the Da Vinci Code about the Illuminati and the Catholic Church. Bill Gates was born in 55, so actually he turned 61 that year. 61. You wouldn't believe what that movie's about. Billionaire that wants to depopulate the world with the jab, the virus. Tom Hanks losing to his wife. Gin Rummy with 201 points. The reason I have this up there is just yesterday on the Jesuit Order's birthday, they said there was a real-life Da Vinci Code story that they found Knights Templar graves. Again, the Jesuits have the Templar cross in the middle of their logo. They've carried on the tradition of the Templars. They're the new military order of the Catholic Church. But yeah, just the jokes every day upon you. Oh, wow, just happened today, huh? Because they don't say anywhere in the story it's the Jesuit Order's birthday, but we get the joke. At old St. Mary's, we know what happened to the Queen on the Virgin Mary's birthday last year. That was another 201. Weather Control 201. Oh, hold on. I had some 201s for this. Hold up. Let me show you what I noticed about the 201 in this. I almost forgot the 201 in this. Okay, you guys. Weather Control 201, right? You see how it's 177, 69, 201? Look at the Jesuit order. And again, 201's a huge number with the Jesuits. The first admitted act of weather warfare goes back to the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 1952. This year, God, you know what? This year was the 71st anniversary of their birthday. And remember, I said it was the 353rd day of Hawaii's age, the 71st prime. And it was yesterday on their 71st birthday where the news story was they can only identify 5 people because they've been Pompeyed. But remember what I was talking about last year? That last year's Weather 201 ritual that was so obvious. Bill Gates just announced the new nuclear facility in Wyoming next to all the national parks and natural beauty. Hopefully nothing goes wrong there. They want to burn spent nuclear fuel underground near the national parks. Hope nothing goes wrong. And that was right after Gavin Newsom, the Jesuit, changed his mind about the Diablo Canyon nuclear plant 201 days from his birthday. But last year what I was talking about is how they wrecked Wyoming with the crazy rainfall on the day leaving 201 days left in the year. And I was saying, see? Here's your latest Jesuit military weather control by the numbers ritual. So, look at the 201s with Maui. Hold on. Let me get this. I know that I just put this up in this morning's post. It goes with the flooding, and it goes with, again, that was on March 8th, 2021, and it goes with what just happened. Hold on. Oh, yeah, by the way, Polynesia was named in the 201st year since Ignatius of Loyola's death. That's not the 201 I wanted, though. That was one I almost forgot. Okay. No. Where is it at? Oh, shit. I did have my computer crash while I was doing this post, but I didn't realize maybe it didn't save something. Hold on. Unless I put it in the other post if I went back and edit that. Hold on, you got to see this. Okay, here it is. Okay, so the March 8th, 2021 flooding, that was on The Rock's 311th day of his age. 311, right? And think about 311 with what they did with Japan the other year, right? That date, March 11th, the huge tsunami. But 311, this recurring date in history, the COVID pandemic, the tribute and light to 9/11. The relationship with 311 and 201 is the number 201 in base 8 counting becomes 311. So think about that in light of Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation, only for the coronavirus pandemic to be declared on March 11th, 311. And again, it's just like 2 World Trade Centers became 0 before they became 1. They had the tribute and light on 311. So the flooding in 2021 was on The Rock's 311th day of his age. And again, that was after this Moana movie. And then we were just looking at the live action. I have not seen this movie, but I watched the beginning of that trailer, and first it shows the island on fire, and then it shows it just like dumping crazy rain. The August 8th fire was 129 days before Disney's death anniversary, December 15th. And again, 129 is 201 in base 8 counting, kind of like how Georgetown's 129, the first Jesuit university. These number patterns are used together, 129, 201, 311. Here's another example. And again, we're talking about a Disney movie starring The Rock, who's this symbolic age at this time. And let me see. When it happened in 2021, he was almost 49. He was still 48. And Hollywood, Illuminati, 48. Special number, the 48 Laws of Power. There might be more with that to go back and look. But at this fire time, 51. And yeah, again, you guys, when you're done with this video, if you missed the beginning, rewind and watch the beginning part, because that's what really matters. But watch the live action Moana trailer. It starts with the island on fire, talking about the people, the native people that had been there. And then right after the fire, then just shows crazy rain dumping on the island. And again, predictive programming that these companies like Disney and Pepsi being more than companies. Again, you guys, if you've just been paying attention, like let's say you lived the same life experience as me, you've been consuming the same news, the programs, looking into things, you've seen things over the years about when CBS 60 Minutes is doing the story about how much money Coca-Cola's making off of, the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan in the post 9/11 world. Is that right? Is it right for Coca-Cola to be making $16 per can at the taxpayer's expense for their supposed cost to get Coca-Cola to the troops? War is Racket, right? That's a book. War is Racket. These companies are not what we think. This idea of public and private and federal, it's a story that's been told to us and we've learned about through indoctrination school, pledging to the 13 stripes for 13 years. But what we've been told is all part of a lie. All of these things have been compartmentalized so we don't see the game. How the corporations and the government, well, a lot of us do see the game, but somehow people don't. The corporations and the government and Hollywood, they're all part of this thing, controlling our behavior, influencing our minds, and going about it in the way that they do, which is, it just seems so fucked up, but in a way it's almost like, well, I'm glad they actually do this little fucked up part over here, even though it's sick, because then it actually gives you a chance to expose what's going on, but then it becomes frustrating because people are just like, they can't get it, even though it's so obvious and undeniable. Here, just to close out with the part that I really want people to, if you're going to try to share this with your friends and family, let's just do the one number, the 127. And as we were doing this live, I realized there was one other part of it that needs to be in here. Where is it all at? I got too many damn slides up here. You guys, the one thing that's so flawed about me is when I was a young person, I was a very organized person. I think weed might have reshuffled my brain. I became less organized after I started smoking weed, but it wasn't all bad. All things good and bad. I became more creative and thoughtful of a person after I started smoking weed, but I seem to have lost my organization skills for whatever reason. Here, let's just bring this all back up. The Rock, April 3rd, Moana live action. Again, that's the day he announced it. We'll just do it live. Okay, we went over this. April 3rd. We talked about why that date's significant, but here's the one piece we really want to get in. From April 3rd, 2023, and again, watch the trailer because it begins with the burning island. From that day to the burning of the island is 127 days later. Now, the governor on the Jesuit order's birthday compared this to 9/11, okay? I didn't make that comparison. Well, I actually was making that comparison right days ago, that there's parallels here. But now the governor did it on the Jesuit order's birthday, and I'm always talking about how the Jesuits did all this. I was in New York City on 9/11 last year. Talk about how the Jesuits did this. But I'm always talking about 127. Pearl Harbor, December 7th. 9/11 called the new Pearl Harbor buildings 1, 2, and 7. Okay? And in this case, this movie is about a Polynesian god, or at least it relates, Maui, the fire god who The Rock portrays. Polynesia 127. Okay? Polynesia is also 44 if you want to get into that part, like Maui, like military, like harp, like kill. Okay, that's another part you can, if you think your audience can handle two numbers more than one, but really the 127 thing, because the 127 thing always laid people flat when they just thought about Pearl Harbor and the new Pearl Harbor and buildings 1, 2, and 7. And remember, in Gematria, ground zero also equals 127. And again, if your audience member can follow, again, Manhattan, 9/11, Manhattan Project to build big bombs. The terminology of ground zero comes from those big bombs. It's the point above or below ground where a nuclear or atomic bomb explodes. Hawaii happens between the anniversaries of the bombings of Hiroshima and Japan with the big bombs that came out of the Manhattan Project. And again, you guys, 93 World Trade Center bombing. Japan equals 93. The 93 World Trade Center bombing goes with The Rock announcing this on April 3rd, the 93rd day of the year. But remember what happened after the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Bill Clinton had just become president. The movie Falling Down in Hollywood came out on the day of the 93 World Trade Center bombing. If you've never seen Falling Down, there's another movie set in LA. It's actually one of my favorite movies. But you also have that scene in Falling Down where he's on the corner of Corona Street and he's blaming an Asian man for inflation. Just think about it. Corona, supposedly from China, all this money printing, inflation. Wow, that was in the movie the day of the 93 World Trade Center bombing. But anyway, 93rd day of the year, Japan 93, going with the history of Pearl Harbor, going with the 93 World Trade Center bombing, going with the atomic bomb. I mean, I don't know that they didn't set off some old form of bomb that they developed, back in the Oppenheimer days. This comes right after the Oppenheimer release. They just did Oppenheimer on you. And now this in Hawaii? People looking like they got hit by Pompeii from a wildfire? From a hurricane that didn't bring any rain? Come on, man. People just get hooked on these stories. The Titan, taking them down to the Titanic wreckage. We've been talking about for a decade, the futility, the wreck of the Titan, the predictive programming for the Titanic sinking. And then they had to tell you that there were relatives of the Titanic on this Titan boat. All this stuff, you guys, we're being made fun of. When I was coming up in school in the 80s and 90s, we had to learn every year about Christopher Columbus and the Titanic. And I was like, why the hell do we got to cover this shit every year? Both of these stories sound like bullshit to me. They're both on the sea, pirates. This nation's ruled by maritime law. Speak out against the authorities. Don't know the law. You'll get fucked. That's the nation we live in. Instead of watching all these Disney movies growing up, we should have learned the law and how to protect ourselves. Should have learned about what, past founders were warning about the Jesuits coming out of suppression as this country was being founded. If you guys missed what I just showed about what they did with the baseball game and the Yankees and the Braves and Trump and the Civil War and the same number code, the Jesuits on these same days, go back and watch that. See how many stakes these people got in the fire. These people are well invested in fucking up this world and making sure they remain in control and get rid of, destroy as many people as possible, and especially those who oppose them. Ugh. So yeah, anyway. I'm gonna keep it right there, True Seeker. I'm finishing these short books right now. I almost feel like I need a short book on what they did in Maui. And once I get these short books done, maybe that's what I gotta do. Just start every time a huge event happens. What would you say each year? I'd say each year there's probably between 6 and 10 huge events that are worth remembering and not forgetting to teach the lesson so it doesn't happen again. I think that's what I'm gonna try to do. Become more organized. Now that I'm 40 years old, I gotta grow up. Time is short in terms of the agenda and the time to fight back. But really pound out powerful short books about events. Imagine if we could already have the short book out about Maui within a week of it happening. I mean, we right now, with everything that we've researched, we could have a pretty powerful book. Of course, we wait months and years, we'll have even more information, but or just there, maybe in like a newsletter form. Powerful, the most powerful story of the month, a huge covering of it for the month. Don't forget this event from this month. Gonna keep waking people up with this one for years to come, what they did in that month. People in Maui didn't die in vain because their names are going to be used to undo this sick, super fucked up agenda that just keeps happening. You know what? I got to call Josh Green's office. I got to call Josh. I can't stand it. Reading this governor compare it to 9/11. You got to be kidding me. I'm doing this before I get off the phone. I'm calling this government office. I haven't called a politician. I get sick of calling the politicians because they never call back. Gonna have to bring the pitchforks. Hold up. Calling the 808 about what happened on 8/8. If they don't pick up, we'll call the lieutenant governor.
Aloha, Office of the Governor.
Yes, I am calling to relay a message, and I'm hoping I could speak to the governor. But can I provide the message to you, and can you get it to the people in the office who matter? This matters to people besides just the governor himself. It matters to all of Hawaii. Sure. So, okay, I'm an author, first of all. I've been writing books, and a big focus of my work has been to prevent the type of thing that just happened in Maui. And my research stems from what they call... They hung up on me. What? He just said sure, and then he hung up? I'm mad.
Hi, this is the Governor's Office. How may I help you?
Yes, I just called in, and I think the line was disconnected. I wanted to relay a message to the governor, and could I present that to you to be relayed?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So yesterday the governor spoke, and he compared the scene of Maui to a war zone or September 11th. And I've been talking about something. I'm an author for a long time. I was in New York on the anniversary of 9/11 presenting exactly what I'm going to say to you, because now it fits in. If you've never realized before, they called 9/11 the new Pearl Harbor, which of course Pearl Harbor happened in Hawaii the year the Pentagon was established on September 11th of all days, if you didn't know that, back in 1941. But the buildings that fell on 9/11 were buildings 1, 2, and 7 in New York City. And of course, the Pearl Harbor date is December 7th, 127. So part of what I've been talking about is for all these years is why companies like Disney have been able to make movies and films and shows that kind of foreshadow things that really happen. Well, this year, on April 3rd, Disney announced the live remake of Moana, and The Rock's the big star in that, who's Maui, the fire god. The trailer for that begins with the island burning. From the day that announcement came out to Maui burning was exactly 127 days later, like buildings 1, 2, and 7, like the date December 7th. And this is nothing new. This has happened so many times. I've been talking about this endlessly for more than a decade now. And I teach about what the meaning is of that number 127. It's not arbitrary. It's the 31st prime number, and 31's the 11th prime number. And again, doing things by a numerical code goes to numerology, where 11's the master number. That's why 9/11 was in New York, the 11th state, and the World Trade Centers look like a big 11, and they were 110 stories tall, 110. Anyhow, this thing with Maui, where I'm here in the mainland, and they're showing us, scenes that don't make sense. And they're telling us that it looks like victims, some of them look like they were hit by Pompeii. And that the governor yesterday, as he compared it to 9/11 in a war zone, said out of the 100 and some people who've been, the bodies or remains have been found, they can only identify 5 because of the severity of the fire. That sounds very military. And again, this happened between the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima in Japan, August 6th and August 9th. And of course, Hawaii was secured by the U.S. for military purposes with Japan and other Asian nations. And then the thing is, look at this. That movie by Disney was announced on the 93rd day of the year. The last surviving pilot to bomb Japan was 93, and again, 9/11. The World Trade Centers were bombed in 93, only for their fate to be coming down. Well, what movie did Hollywood release the day of the 93 World Trade Center bombing? It was a big movie. It was the biggest movie released that day. It was Falling Down with Michael Douglas. And so anyway, the point is, 93, 127, I've only told you the tip of the iceberg, but they've been used over and over in the rituals with Japan, 9/11, many other war rituals in the world, and now Maui, synced up with a Disney film. And people have to think about what Disney is. Disney is Demolay. Walt Disney is Demolay. Who's Demolay? Demolay is the Knights Templar. The Templars became the Jesuits. Yesterday, your governor, on the Jesuit order's birthday, the first day in history, look this up if you don't know this, the first act of weather warfare is admitted to on August 15th, 1952. Your brother your governor on their birthday talked about how it was like 9/11 and they can't even, identify the majority of people who've been found who've hardly been anybody. What kind of wildfire does that? We've seen a few stories like this in the last 5 years, including Paradise, California. But again, you look into what I'm talking about, you'll find out the Jesuits have something called Agenda 21 and 2030, and it has to do with population reduction and smart cities. And I know you guys are planning on building a smart city there in Hawaii. So for the justice of the people of Hawaii, this information has to get out, and not just Hawaii, the people of the world, because there will be more places like what happened to Maui, which obviously was not a wildfire. And here's one more to look into how complicated it is. When a lot of people are at the movie theater watching these Disney movies, they're drinking this sugar water that's not good for them, whether it's Coke or Pepsi. I want you to look out into Pepsi in the year 1964, what they did, because in 1964, there was a very significant hurricane, Hurricane Dora. They're saying the winds of this Dora caused the Maui destruction. But in 64, there was a huge Hurricane Dora. Hawaii is about to turn 64 years old as a state on August 21st, meaning it burned up 13 days before its state birthday to go with the 13 stripes and the 13 colonies and the 13 years of public school where they don't really teach you about anything besides to pledge and believe in your nation. Anyhow, 64, that year, Pepsi bought Mountain Dew. And I want you to look into how Mountain Dew recently put out a flavor called Maui Burst. I won't get into all of it, but this is what's going on in this nation. And these companies, Pepsi's bigger than world governments. They are the biggest food company in North America. Pepsi, Disney, these things are larger than life. These things foretold what was going to happen in Maui on August 8th. And there's more to the story. But if there's anybody in Hawaii who's serious about getting out the word, and you might have to give up your government job, find out that your government's largely behind this. But if there's anybody who wants to get out the word, please tell them to call me back. My name is Zachary K. Hubbard. My phone number is 509-560-4982. And I do plan to be in Hawaii in the not too distant future sharing this information on the streets, because the people there deserve to know. I know there's a lot of people asking questions, and it's wrong that there's no real investigative journalism, and we're letting this bunk reporting go on that doesn't make any sense, because people don't get decimated like this from a wildfire, especially a hurricane. Where's the rain at? So anyway, thank you for listening, and thank you for relaying that message as much as you can. If you have any questions, I will take them.
No, thank you so much. I'm taking it all down, and I'll definitely relay that message, so thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Okay, hopefully he did take it down. But yeah, you guys, I mean, we literally were in New York on September 11th, teaching about 127 in the new Pearl Harbor, and it blows people's mind. You see people stop and listen and go, oh my God, I never thought of that. Now look. Now look. All right. I see there were some super chatters. Thank you very much, Snake Eater. Thanks, Zach, for the hard work. Can't wait for the new books. Me neither. Thank you. Eloy Garcia, again, thank you, Eloy, with the continued generosity. I appreciate the dollar. A dollar's huge. If everybody in the stream gave $1, man, I'd be a rich man. Thank you. Eric Miller, $20. Another huge donation. 247th year in America. Maybe you meant to write 247 equals, or are you looking ahead to the next year? Loving kindness. Okay, interesting. 110 years after the Federal Reserve. That's interesting. Federal Reserve, and then we were in the World Wars. Thank you very much, Eric. Very interesting. Again, that post, I like it. It's looking to the future because the future's coming, but at the same time, it's like we have something right now that just everybody needs to know about. This 127 thing that we keep teaching about with 9/11 Pearl Harbor. You guys, the Jesuits, for him to reference that on the Jesuits' birthday to compare Maui to 9/11, this is... Come on, man. Nick F., I'm the Cabal calendar guy. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, again, Nick, I appreciate it. I appreciate the generosity. What Nick's trying to do, you guys, is he's figured out this other way to look at the calendar, and he's called it the Cabal calendar, and he's making new calculations on the calendar that he figured out. Nick, I'm going to be honest. I think it's interesting, but we're already having enough trouble showing people how Pope's 52, and we have a 52-week calendar named after the Pope, and all the rituals that are lined up with the Pope and Superior General. Like, people aren't getting that. Imagine then going to, and by the way, let's just throw out that calendar. Look at how I've rearranged the calendar, and now how things line up. I mean, that you got to think about where people are at. You're adding a whole new level of complication that's really not necessary. Again, we're showing how it's synced up with the Catholic Church and their calendar, which actually makes a lot of logical sense. But don't let me discourage you. I do appreciate you bringing your mind, and I do think you're onto something. It's just... I'm not going to present it in light of what I just said. It's making things more complicated than they need to be, in my opinion. Rest in Gematria says he'll be in Maui September 9th. I won't be there then because I know Sweet Lady's not going to be gone yet. I'm going to make my flight for when she's gone. I'm going to be gone the day she's going to be gone, and I think that's somewhere between September 13th and 18th. So if you're still there when I get there, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Rest in Gematria with another donation. Thank you, Rest in Gematria. And with another. Please say RIG, not RIP. I've seen you say that before. Honestly, you can call yourself Rest in Gematria. I don't know what that means. I don't want to tell people to rest in Gematria. Like Gematria, the killing name, and killing people by a Gematria code. I don't want people to rest in Gematria. I want them to rest in peace. So no, I'm not going to say rest in Gematria. No, that honestly sounds wicked. And Nick, he says, Zach, man, I'm late to the show. 185 on the Cabal calendar is 11/1. Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. That's why your calendar thing that you're on is interesting. It's just like, I got to continue to teach it within the context of the calendar we're on, which is Catholic, where all this stuff goes back to. So, but I do appreciate it. KT cleans a lot. Look at Teddy Roosevelt's birth and death dates. He's from Oyster Bay, New York. Okay, we could do that since he was a big part of getting Hawaii. He was also related to the president who was president when World War II happened in Oh yeah. Why? I don't know if I've actually pointed that out before. Okay, so Teddy Roosevelt's all about getting Hawaii, and then his relative's president when Pearl Harbor happens. I don't think I say that out loud a lot. What a joke. What a joke, you guys. I don't know why that didn't dawn on me. This nation's such a joke, man. It's like it was given to us to see if we were dumb. That was taught to us in school to see if we were dumb. See if they catch on with the Roosevelts. Everything's a coincidence. Okay, he says, okay, just to tie it all together, the Cabal calendar, the French Republic calendar starts on May 1st. Oh, so your Cabal calendar is the French Republic calendar. Well, we've pointed out before that the French Republic calendar is very interesting. God, it's been years since I looked into that, but for a while we were paying attention to that French Republic calendar. It was back when that Bastille Day attack happened. Okay, so let's not call it the Cabal calendar. See, language is important. Let's use the proper name of the calendar. Okay, the French Republic calendar. Got it. Okay, now you're on to something. Keep it up. Let's not invent our own terms. Like, that's what Derek does. Derek's renamed all the ciphers. How's that helping the movement? We've been learning it with these cipher names for a decade. Now Derek's just, well, nearly a decade into it, Derek's just going to change the names of the ciphers. Where does that help people with the research? God. Oh, man. Language matters, you guys. This whole channel is essentially about language and its secrets. And, but yeah, language and speaking clearly, it matters. So anyway, I don't think I did this video right again because I just got so many things to say. Thank you, Abel7, for the $7 on Cash App. First Cash App during the stream. I appreciate that. Yeah, and again, you will see me in Hawaii soon. Like I said, I'm going to coordinate it with a Sweet Lady's trip to visit her family in Denver. And yeah, it'll be my first time in Hawaii, so... And sadly, I wish I was there under better terms. But yeah, we got to get there and present Pearl Harbor, the new Pearl Harbor, the Roosevelts. That's got to be part of it. That's just straightforward, the Roosevelts. And now the governor on the Jesuit order's birthday. We'll bring it all together. Just through that, we can bring it together. I'll write, a one-page article that we can hand out. I'll be handing them out. See how many I can print and hold. Won't be able to get out a book in that time, but... yeah, this Maui thing, man, it needs to be exposed. And maybe just one of these days for going out and pounding pavement, it'll finally get the attention it deserves in the world. We've been all over the place, and so far not many people care. But we've been on point, teaching the same lessons that just keep replicating about the Jesuits and their number code and what they're really doing with our military and... I don't know what you're saying in the chat. The message, Zach, the message is the people know what is really going on. I don't know what that sentence means. The message is the people know what's really going on. I don't know what that means. You'll be in Maui till the 16th? Then I suspect I'll probably be there at that time. She's supposed to leave around the 13th. I'm going to get out of here as quick as she does. As soon as I know, if she knows tonight what date she's exactly going, I'll book my time today and I'll start saying I'm going to be in Hawaii on these days. $315 round trip to Portland right now. Is that right? Wow, that's cheap. That's cheap. It's funny. I was thinking about driving. I know it wouldn't be $350 round trip from my little airport here in the middle of Washington. That ends up adding a huge fee. But if I drive to Portland or Seattle and fly from there, I can probably get close to the same rate. So, am I ever going to come to Chicago? I was in Chicago last year. Where were you? There was a whole gathering of us in Chicago last year. We had a big turnout in Chicago at the park. I don't know how you can ask me if I'm ever coming to Chicago, man. I was there, unless you weren't here yet. But yeah, we stopped by every major city. And I announced that many months in advance, you guys. Many months in advance, I announced I'm going to be stopping at every major city. We're going Seattle to New York. And that's exactly what we did. We hit every city between Seattle and New York. So, that we're on that driving path. I was driving. So, I don't think there's anyone I need to be teaming up with. All I got to say to other people in the truth community is they need to be sharing my work. Just replay the video. Get the word out. I don't know what else. You guys, the reason I don't know why I'm teaming up with anybody else is because what am I going to do? Listen to them talk about whatever they got to talk about? I don't know what they're talking about. I'm talking about exactly what's going on in the world. It might sound arrogant, but I figured out the code. We've been accurately forecasting. We've been dead on about everything. We know the system. We know who's doing it. We're proving it every day. We're teaching the same lessons. Who do I need to bring on to tell me about what's going on? The answer is no one. Okay? I don't mind if other people want to come out and speak with me and share their message. That's fine. But at this point, I don't feel like I need to be teaming up with anyone. I feel like when the mic's out, and my voice is good, I might as well speak. I don't know anyone else who figured out anything else as well as I did. Sorry, that's just a fact. You can think that's arrogant all you want, but that's a fact. Figured it out, the code, how it's going down, proved it, taught it to a lot of people. Some people are taking the knowledge and making good use of it. Some people are making me go, oh my God, I don't know if Gematria decoding's for you. But, so if he has a network of truth seekers, why isn't he getting out the word? You know, we're a decade into this. I don't want to collaborate with anybody a decade into this who hasn't helped get out the word about what I've been teaching. They don't need to have me on. I've always said all my work's free to share. Everybody should be helping get out the word about this. Nobody's doing it. So I don't want to collaborate with any of these people. I don't trust them. They've been talking about nonsense, believing in politics, all this crap. Am I a Freemason? Nope. I'm not a member of any secret society. So, never been a Freemason. Why do I need to look up Billy Carson? Well, why isn't Billy Carson talking about Gematria right now? Why isn't he streaming this broadcast on his channel right now? We're just getting free advertising for that guy. No more. If he was about the truth, he'd be sharing this live stream right now. He'd just be replicating it on his channel, getting the word out. Anybody who's not doing that, as far as I'm concerned, they're not part of the truth community. You know? They're talking about some mediocre crap that doesn't have to do with anything. I know because I've been here the whole time. People tell me to check out these channels. I check them out. I'm like, does somebody just call into my show to recommend that channel just to promote it? Like free promotion because I got the radio line open? I haven't seen anybody else doing anything meaningful, to be perfectly honest. Speculating, a whole bunch of nonsense, aliens, all this crap that doesn't matter. Here we are every day showing how it's all the Jesuits. Perfectly. Proving it. Undeniably. Well, what more is there to say? People, get behind my work, support me, help fund this the way it needs to be funded. I've proven I'll actually do things. Are any of these people running truth social media sites that are censorship-free, putting in money every month? I know I've been doing that for years now. Expensive. How many people are on there? Hardly anyone. So, no. I'm not doing any more promotions for anybody else because nobody's helping out get out the word here. And as far as I'm concerned, all this other stuff is just static. Noise. Something you don't need to hear. It's not helping with anything. It's not proving anything. I don't hear anybody calling governor's offices, politicians. I don't see anybody doing anything besides just talking a whole lot of shit that doesn't lead us anywhere. Can't say that about my work. Leads you right to the problem. Well, like I've always said, revolution or bust. I haven't painted some fake fairy tale picture. I said we got to wake people up and overthrow this tyranny. Get the keys to the military so they can't turn on the fire machine or whatever the hell they just did again. How much are we spending every day spraying the shit out of the sky for some experimentation purposes? Let's stop that program cold in its tracks and do something about more immediate problems. You know? The psychopath control has to end. That's square one. The day until the psychopaths are ended, man, we're not safe anywhere. And I think, yeah, right, the Matrix sees it right now, too, if he's out there. Because he's been saying how we just got to go to Mexico, and I keep making the point to him. I'm like, well, imagine we go set up a successful spot in Mexico or wherever, and, the Illuminati doesn't like it. Well, the fire machine just came in. Oh, man, those people had a good idea, but they were wiped out by the wildfire. If anybody even hears that much about it. So... sadly, that's the reality of the world we live in. And that's why I've been saying that like, people are tripping with I have not been wrong about the revolution or bust thing. Revolution or bust. It's a tough road that we got to go on if we're going to correct this world. You know? And sadly, unless a ton of people start doing something at once and really speaking out and going to their corners and getting out the word, everybody's out on the corner all across the world talking about the 127 New Pearl Harbor Code and what they just did with the governor saying this on the Jesuit order's birthday. Unless everybody's out on the corner screaming that across the country, it's probably not going to be enough. But the funny thing is, it could take just one man like The Rock. If they got The Rock to go on TV and talk about this, oh man, everybody be buzzing about it. So. All right. Yeah, I do see that. Thank you, Monique, and thank you, Brandon. I do see the cash apps. I see you guys. Thank you very much. But all right, yeah, I got to get back to my writing project time. Again, finishing a short book right now on Kobe Bryant's death because it's so much bigger than Kobe Bryant's death. It's really about COVID and more. and also the short book on what's going to come in this election. And I don't think I'm going to be, just like how in my last book, if you guys haven't read my last book, I put one prediction in there and it was dead on. My book came out in the middle of 2020, the year the pandemic was declared, and it says in the book why as soon as the year of the tiger rolls around, they will stop this. I said it would last through that period of time. That's when they'll start to wind it down. Exactly what happened. And I explained why in the book that's what they would do. And, everything I wrote in my first book, Letters and Numbers, 127, The New Pearl Harbor, a million other things, all that stuff just keeps happening every day. I mean, these books have been proven over, just countless times since they were written. But anyway, I got to finish the latest books that I have not finished. Short books, longer book on 201. Unless I might just decide to break the 201 book into a bunch of just short books. Just 201 this, 201 that. But yeah, number games. That's where I nailed it. So what I'm saying is, what I'm about to write for this election book, I know it's going to end in the theme that's being presented. Again, the sign that I was right, you guys, was August 9th. I was talking all day about the assassination theming they had going on all day that day in the news. And then what happened at the end of the day? The Ecuadorian presidential candidate got assassinated. Totally backing up exactly what I'd taught all day about the Jesuits and killing in 144 and the upcoming election being 144 days after Trump's birthday and everything else. Lincoln, JFK, RFK Jr. We'll have that in print before it happens too. I don't exactly know how they're going to do the assassination, gun grab, gun control thing that they got planned, but it's obvious that it's coming. So it's super obvious. Thank you, Ivory. She says, so happy I found you years ago. Your work is eye-opening to a lot of things going on. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for your generosity. And Nick with another 5. He says, again, I'm late. Maui police chief. Yeah, I saw that. The Maui police chief and the Vegas police chief. Yeah. Somebody did the decode for us the other day in another stream I did, how it was synced up. Yeah. All right, True Seeker. But yeah, time to get back to the writing assignment. And this Maui thing, you guys, like seriously, you yourself figure out a way to contribute more to waking up humanity. Because if you don't, you might be the next Maui. It could be the whole West Coast. It could be a whole another geographic region. It could be all kinds of places. And just for all of you guys who sit there in the shadows and watch my videos and agree more with like your flat earth YouTubers who've told you everything's fake and everything online's a hoax. That's a community of people on YouTube. The earth's flat, everything's fake. 9/11 never happened, the wars are all fake. Who's been here the whole time telling you guys are wasting your time with that shit? And that kind of stuff could be consequential. You might find out that it's not all fake when it's too late. You think if you were standing under the World Trade Centers when that rubble came flying down, you think that people got smashed from that? That was fake? Come on. They do put a lot of fake stuff on the news. Don't get me wrong. All they got to do is sell the story to get the result, but not everything they do is fake. Some of these things have consequences. Go listen to the people on Maui. They're not all crisis actors, and that's why I want to go over there too. I want to see it with my own eyes. Not through the TV lens. I got to see it with my own eyes shortly after it happens. So I'm going to get out there ASAP. It's going to make up for, Skip and Kobe and New York 9/11. Again, I really do want these things to be annual. New York 9/11. I hope the truth seekers get out there and do it without me. I heard, the Matrix say he's disappointed I'm not coming out for New York 9/11. You lead it this year. You link up with Lincoln Karam. Get out there with Fake Mike. Everybody else who came out. You guys can do it without me. I don't have to be there for 9/11 in New York. I live on the other side of the country. My support dried up this past year. So anyway, I'll muster it together for Hawaii because it's so current and it fits right in with everything. Fits in with, I can teach about New York 9/11. We got the whole thing figured out. It's the beauty of this work. For teaching the right things, now we see it right when it happens. We understand it crystal clear. And go watch that Moana live action trailer. I think that was part of the live action, what just happened to Maui. All right, Truth Seeker. All right, writing time. Thank you again. I appreciate the generosity of people. If you guys do want to support the work, what'll also just make even though Sweet Lady's gonna let me go because she's gonna be gone, she's not gonna have that much of an argument. She's gonna say like, I can't believe you want a travel place when all your stuff just goes down every month every time you go somewhere. So if somehow people out there can help counter that, and more people can support, I'll be like, look, the support's coming back. I haven't been able to say that for about a year and a half. It's just been all downhill since we exposed the big Jesuit ritual of the 95 bombing in Oklahoma City on Ignatius of Loyola Day. You know, in the year 95. Because it's always the same numbers. All right, Truth Seeker. Oh, Victor. Shout out to Victor. Hey, I don't know if Victor's in New York for 9/11 this year, but Victor brought out his whole family for 9/11. And he's another person that could bring it together this year. Yeah, New York 9/11 can happen without me. There's plenty of people that can do it. Yeah, right, the Matrix said he wanted to speak out next time. Man, you can have the whole damn floor. So. But yeah, aloha soon. Till next time, Truth Seeker.